Hello, Fightful Faithful. Welcome to another episode of the Tuesday Sour Grab Show. I'm Alex. This is Kate. And if you're in the market for 12 moderately scantily clad girls, do I have a deal for you? It's the Chase U Sexy Coeds calendar, and it will only cost you $100. That's the first installment. There are also 9 other installments of $100. That's how much the calendars need to cost for them to be able to, as they said, fund the university into the 2030s. Kate's here. Hi, Kate.
Hey, I'm back. And we'll do airplane puns today because I think that would be fun.
Oh, air travel puns. Interesting.
Yeah, it'd be fun, right?
Sure. Why not?
Alex.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about that colossally bad segment. See? Mm-hmm. I take a couple of days off. I can't even say colossally anymore. Mm-hmm. Normally, I'm extremely fluid, and I've never messed up a single word on this show. But I'm back here. We're out here. Sour Graps. Get in those super chats. Get in those humper chats at humperchats.com. Please leave a thumbs up on this video. It helps people find us in the algorithms. And for Pete's sake, for the sake of Pete, Peter Dune, one might even say, subscribe to Fightful Select, people. Because Alex, we're only a month in, and I think it's fair to say it's been a chaotic little year in wrestling.
It has.
On a variety of fronts. Including contract news, which OMG, there is so much more of coming up, and it's going to be such a fun year. Don't be a nerd about it. It's so much fun. Free agency rules. Sean loves covering it. I love seeing where people end up. We're going to have so much fun in wrestling this year. Also, Sean doesn't paywall stuff that is icky to paywall, injuries, crucial details about overarching and horrific scandals. But sometimes supplementary details are given and context is given to those things. So you can find that on FightfulSelect.com as well. Julia was brought up earlier. Okada, people are wondering where he's landing. Will Ospreay's finally coming into AEW. Where's everybody going? Naomi's back in Royal Rumble. So much happening. So subscribe to FightfulSelect.com. My goodness. And I see the chat, and I was wondering if someone was going to bring this up. Colt Cabana, we saw you on Being the Dark Order, okay? With your $4.99 and your direct sources whispering into your ear, okay? We're still the best $5 in the biz. I don't want to hear it. But we're going to have some fun talking about NXT tonight, which was... It was bad in a lot of ways that I think are going to be very silly to talk about, Alex.
It's true.
It's what we do here at Sour Graps. But yeah, this was an episode that happened, and Vengeance Day is also gonna happen. So
yeah, I'm actually excited for the Dijak and Joe Gacy match, simply because I feel like they're
excited.
They're gonna do some crazy shit in that thing. So I'm looking forward to that.
I can't believe it, but I'm like actually very in on this based on what you said last week. If that's the direction they go with Joe Gacy,
so far it seems like a sillier version of that, like the Nickelodeon version of ECW Cactus Jack, like a little. he's half ECW Cactus Jack and half Patrick from SpongeBob. He's just there might be some other things thrown in there, a couple of Rugrats. Stimpy, like just
we're gonna talk about it all. I'm unreasonably in on that match, and I kind of actually really like this version of Joe Gacy, but
yes,
we got lots to talk
about. We do. We'll start out with the original usual pleasantries from JW Pringle, who says, "Awesome, Alex, kick-ass Kate, the real head of the table, Papa Paul Elizabeth, Luis, and all the SGS sour tears." He says also, "May the victim get what she needs, and may Vince and all others involved rot." Well, yeah, I want to stay away from that as much as possible. It's obviously an incredibly important thing going on, but I'll just talk about that for 2 hours as opposed to NXT, and I don't want
and
to talk
it
about
is.
that.
We're not avoiding it to avoid it. We're avoiding it because
no.
it's covered ad nauseum
It's
on
covered
this channel
in
and many
so
others.
many ways. Yeah.
But that being said, sentiment shared with that JW Pringle. And I will also say,
absolutely.
I arrived at my parents today. I was being silly with my mom earlier. And we were talking about that I was doing the show later. And she goes, how's JW Pringle? Mm-hmm. Just all out of the blue. Yeah. Which I appreciate. And I was like, well, we'll have to find out. And he tweeted back. But it's always nice to see you here, JW Pringle. We appreciate you.
Yes, it is.
I was very concerned because he took like a week off. And that was just, she was very concerned.
Luis has a question for us at the top of the document, just so you can check, because I'll
Okay.
You via that. But we started out with our Carmelo and Trick versus the LWO. This is very good. The LWO guys are very good at this. They're consummate professional wrestlers. Trick and Mello have obviously up and coming great talents. So the match, I have no problems with the match, and it will remain to be seen on Vengeance Day how much problem I have with everything about this in retrospect. But they are doing a lot. This is convoluted as hell. Because Trick and Mello win this, they're in the finals. Okay, Mello is actively involved in a storyline on SmackDown where he is a baby face. Trick rescued him from being beaten down on SmackDown and then looked annoyed that he had to do it. And my question was, why are you even here? You're not. This is their first appearance on the main roster. And it just like it's cool that he's getting some some stuff here, but in kayfabe, why did you even show up? And I thought it was because he was going to be in the Rumble, but he wasn't in the Rumble. But Carmelo was in the Rumble, and are they resentful of each other because one was in the Rumble, one wasn't? Oh, but they're also going for the Dusty Cup title. But on the same night they have that, Trick has a one-on-one match with Ilja, and Ilja may or may not have been the guy who attacked him originally all the way back in October. That seems like a long time ago because it is. Also, if it wasn't Ilja, then it was definitely Carmelo, unless it wasn't, and it could have been somebody else, but we're not really sure who that was. Lexus King said it was, but it turns out that guy's a liar. So there's a lot here going on with this.
There is no Carol in HR.
I just wanted to see Trick Williams, the most over he may ever be, facing perhaps the greatest wrestler he will ever face in this version of Ilja Dragunov. Both of them at full strength with no other ridiculous things around them, just doing this in the main event of a pay-per-view because I think both guys deserve it. But they've thrown all these other things all over it. And I just like it now. It just feels like it's too much to me. It just feels like it's too much.
It feels to me like the plan was going to be to have Carmelo turn on Trick. And then they were like, no, we want him as a face on the main roster. So we now have no resolution to that. But this has just been going on for so long. And it is very muddy. And I guess I'm just someone, and it's a funny thing to learn about yourself, who doesn't like having a tag match for a title and then a single shot for a title on the same card. I didn't like it in AEW. I don't love it here. But I do feel like it needs resolution soon because it feels so over baked at this point. And to your point, it's not like, oh, this has just been going on too long. It feels extremely muddy. And it also feels like the thing that seems like the logical thing can't happen because of the main roster caveat of, maybe it's Trick who gets pinned and Carmelo gets mad and beats him up about it. And then he's softened up for Dragunov later. Something along those lines. Doesn't feel like you can really do that because it feels like they want Melo to be a face on the main. They may also say, screw it. You're a heel down here. You're a face on the main. Who cares?
Wouldn't
They've
be the
done that
first
to
time.
us before. I don't like it. It might be the only way out of this thing. So it is what it is. Match was fun enough. Trick and Melo genuinely work very well together. LWO was great. But this was it was a solid match, which we get a lot of on NXT. Solid to very good, sometimes great.
Right.
But the story just feels stuck in the mud as opposed to out the mud.
Right.
It feels very much like they've lost the plot. I always say I like it when I feel like a wrestling program knows where it's going and I don't, but I don't like it when it feels like a wrestling program doesn't know where it's going. Like I like not knowing, but I want to have the confidence that they know where it's going, and I don't feel like that in this case.
Yeah, the thing about the Dusty Cup finals is that Trick and Melo, at least one of whom is imminently scheduled to be on the main roster,
yes,
are one team. And the other team is Baron Corbin and Braun Breaker. Braun is like having segments on Raw where apparently he's on the phone to Nick Aldis. He had a really great spot in the Rumble. Braun apparently is also being called up imminently, finally. And that's great. But what I don't want is for the Dusty Cup to go to one of two teams that is already basically out the door. Like the Dusty Cup used to be about the up and coming tag teams, not two guys put together, but tag teams used to be about that for the most part. I mean, like you had TMDK versus AOP was the finals of the Dusty Cup. Like, and those were two teams that were on the come up, and AOP very soon after that became tag champs, and I believe TMDK would have if Shane Haste, I forget what he was called at the time, Shane Thorne was Shane Thorne. If he hadn't broken his leg, I believe TMDK would have been right there with them. And I always liked that because this is not a thing you do on the way out. Sorry, guys, I gotta go. Nick Aldis is on the phone. It's a thing you do to get catapulted to the level of the tag division where you could face guys like the Revival and DIY and Undisputed Era. That was the kind of a thing for this. And now it just feels like it's a thing you're doing to get the top guys who don't really have anything else to do on your pay-per-view card. And then whatever team wins it, is the prize still a tag team title match? Because it used to be. I don't know if it is. If it is, they're going to face Tony D and Stax because the tag team champions aren't defending on the pay-per-view. They've got a mixed tag 6-person thing going on, and if they beat OTM, then I guess they're done with that and can face the winner of the Dusty Cup. But if OTM beats them, which is not impossible to think, then will OTM get a title shot before the Dusty Cup? Like, if Braun Breaker is all ready to get called to the main roster and wins this tournament, is he still here in 2 months waiting for his tag title match? Like, again, too much.
Sometimes you say our fun names with a great deal of authority, and I appreciate it. Luis, being a TMDK historian, did point out that it was Mikey Nichols who broke his leg, and I just the only reason that I made that correction is because I wanted to say that match would have slapped Jack. But I do think that you're right, and that the Dusty Cup now feels handcuffed, and I do believe the stuff with Braun Breaker is maybe affected by some of the real life events that did happen. You could slide in Braun Breaker very easily where you would have had Brock Lesnar, right? So I think maybe that got hot-shotted. But that being said, from what I saw, I really liked what they did with Braun Breaker. He looked natural. He really fit. Yeah. So he should go up, but there might be a little creative adjustment as opposed to poor planning here. But either way, you were putting these guys and those guys matches together, and that's just not for me. I like my tag teams to be tag teams. I like them to have matching gear and to want to be in there together. I don't want them to hate each other and then learn to like each other, or to love each other and then hate each other 2 weeks later. So that booking's just not for me. And you're right, they now face in an existential crisis, Alex, of the fact that both teams are supposed to go up, assuming that's our finals that we're leading to.
Unless it's one of those the blind draw thing that they did with Adam Cole and MJF, where the point is that these two guys don't belong together. There was just a random draw, and then you actually do a story coming out of that, as opposed to I don't like you and I don't like you and you don't like me. Let's be a tag team is not the best way for me. Just whatever.
Though I will say, like, even though that I don't like that, they've done a good job of piecing that out. Like Baron Corbin, I feel like was convincing enough, and then because the in-ring has been so good, it works.
Cyclo is saying this is somehow less complicated than MSK winning the belts after losing in the finals of the Dusty Cup.
No. I forgot about that. I don't know how I forgot about that, because it was egregious, because you had Imperium and the Creeds going at it for months, and then they were like, gotta be them. Gotta be MSK.
Paul Elizabeth says, greet team SGS, Supermod Luis and Herr Von Pringle. And then he said in the chat, he said, hold on, where is it? He says, okay, twice I typed greetings and the app cut it off at greet. I give up. Your poor father. Your poor put upon father.
I like that he's typing it. I'm at their house right now. He's typing it from the other room and sending money from over there. He should just hand it to me. We'll cut out Sean. I'll DM you. We'll figure it out. We'll cash out.
Jambeard says, wait, does that mean Alex is focusing on the positives? Focusing on the positives, and it's NXT, so you should know better. I'm focusing on the negatives.
What is the name of the show, people? We are not betraying our brand.
No.
There it is.
Although here's a positive that I will focus on. Obafemi. He knows the best way to get a free shot at Dragon Lee is to show up after his boys have a tag team tournament match and beat them into the ground. And then Dragon Lee runs out.
What does he do?
He runs out. And then the three of them are beating on Obafemi like this. And then Obafemi does this. And then and Vic Joseph, I think is it Vic or Booker was like, oh well, see now it's 3-on-1. He couldn't possibly get out of this. Then he does immediately. Obafemi is great. He beats them all up. He throws them. He shot puts one guy into another guy.
He does.
Dragon Lee jumps off the top rope and he just goes. He just hits him. Just hits him in the middle of the torso with his giant bear paw and just and he just falls out of the sky. It was great. Obafemi versus Dragon Lee is again. There are two matches on the card that I am really, really looking forward to. Other ones may surprise me. I'm sure a lot of them will be great, but the ones that I'm looking forward to are Obafemi versus Dragon Lee for real this time. And also the ridiculous, it's like one guy might actually bring out a chainsaw that works, not just one for show. Joe Gacy versus Dijak may be sneaky hardcore match of the year. So that
Eddie Kingston brought out gasoline so that Dijak could bring out a for real C's chainsaw. Yes, I'm excited for that match as well. And I think you're right. In NXT, we commonly get really wonderful matches with not a lot of great story going into it. Obafemi is great. And the reason I know that he's great is not only do you love him when you are not known for hey, I love stuff. You now have given him your own soundboard for him. I don't know if you caught yourself doing it, but you were like, and then he was like, do it. And then he was like,
yeah, it's true.
But we were told that we were too excited about Obafemi from First Name Bunch of Numbers. So we think he is very good. He's good at wrestling. This is fun. My only complaint about this was the 3-on-1 you're ganged up on angle was used here. And then later in the show with Rich Holland and Gallus. But done differently, but just had a lot more impact with the guy who got out of it in this one.
Yeah.
But I just don't like when they copy and paste certain tropes into.
Right. Were you made privy to this? Was it done through anyway? Obafemi's mother confirms he is actually 25, not 22.
Yes.
So
I did see that because
still pretty amazing, but
there's a very small percentage of people that appreciate this reference, but they appreciate it so much, so I'm going to make it. It's Danny Almonte all over again. Do you remember that guy?
They were like, I do remember that. Yeah.
Hooray, we won the Little League Championships. And he was like, I'm 74 years old.
No.
He was like 8.
If he was 50? 74, he was 74, it would have been like in the opposite direction. Because you get better at sports as you get older until you get at 45, which is Punk's age, you go down. So what we had was I believe he was 22 years old. He shaved off his goatee every morning before he went to Mount. But yeah. Imagine
you can legally drink and you're like, I'm gonna strike out some of these suckers. Let's go. I'm normal. This is how life works.
Orion Ben says LWO doing dual Van Terminators. Tomando I don't know how to pronounce that. Tomando Air. Tomando Irie? I have no idea. Luis says he's counting that as a pun. So
okay. Oh, yeah. Air because of the airlines.
Yeah. I love
got it.
I love that Luis is like, wait a minute, I'm very young. I don't remember this at all. Huh?
Oh, what? Luis reminds me that he's too young for things all the time.
He Little League thing, he was not 13. He was like almost 16. And he was striking out guys left and right because he was the greatest Little League pitcher ever until you realized actually he's just a pretty good high school pitcher, which is a very big difference between Little League. Anyway.
He was 14 and the cap of the league was 12.
So
I like our version better where he's in his 20s.
Me too. It's always better.
He graduated college.
Mm-hmm. No, he was like a 6th year senior. Like
this wasn't this year. This wasn't this year.
No, it was a long time ago.
It was a while ago.
It was a long time ago.
I reached for it.
I honestly, I was always very surprised he didn't wind up in the majors. Like he was just so damn good.
Yeah.
No, not good enough.
Not the case.
And Luis says Oba yeeting Wild onto Mendoza and then hitting Lee with a vicious anti-air chop. That was the bit. That was that. He said that made him levitate. So that's nice.
Bet.
Okay, so Ava is fully the GM now. We're gonna have to accept that. We're gonna move on. Lord, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. Ava Rain is the GM of
You be careful because if you're praying to God, he and Shawn Michaels have a relationship. Okay, they've tagged together.
Yeah, it's true. She's like, Ridge, I know you want the 3 members of Gallus at once. I can't do that for you. I have to protect you from yourself. And then Lexus comes in with a basket of gifts, which is just pictures of himself. Like, why? I don't know. There are literally hundreds of things you could do as a heel gimmick. Why the guy is the absolute worst dude in the world is like, but like, he's just why do that? Why intentionally make him this? I just don't understand. Like, here's some pictures of me. I'm going to aggressively hit on these women later in front of their friends. I don't know. He's just not for me. But he's like, you know what I will do? I'm going to have you versus Ridge Holland in a match later. And Ridge is like, I'll see you out there. And then, yeah.
Alex, I got to say, this is 100% on me. I'm owning this. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
This is me.
Mm-hmm.
This is me and my problem. Okay.
It's you, huh?
It's me. I'm the problem. It's me.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of miss the old facial hair now. This is like when we had Hank and Tank, and Hank was wearing the same thing to the ring, and we were like, why does he keep doing it? Why does he keep doing it? And then he finally got gear, and I was like, I kind of miss the old gear now. Now I miss the old facial hair.
You are not allowed to do this, Kate, because
I go around the bend.
You led the charge against the facial hair. You were the first person.
I just wanted to know
what
was going on. I wanted to know what was happening with it. Yeah. Why did it look this way?
Yeah.
Was it shoe polish? Like, what was happening? And now it's gone.
It was definitely.
Here's what it is. I still don't have an answer. Yeah. This obviously looks better, but like, why was it that way is still something that I am owed as a person. I said this in the beginning, and I maintain this thought. They're obviously headed to this like loose cannon thing, and those initial vignettes were really cool, and then they went off the rails with how they are getting to this. It takes a very specific type of guy to be able to pull that off, and I don't know if Lexis King is that guy. And it also takes us, I was realizing this today, I don't know if it's possible to do that in the environment that NXT is. Like, I actually feel like there are times where Joe Gacy is closer to a loose cannon than Lexis King is, right? Because he's now, there's definitely something comedic going on here. Like, it's getting a little like tongue-in-cheekish almost. But loose cannons don't have a slidey chair.
Well, he's not the loose cannon anymore. He's just the skeeviest dude that has ever existed. Like, that's just his thing now. So, also, you know how people sometimes keep their Christmas decorations up way too late.
Yes, I'm not.
I still have. I have one more box of Sour Patch Kids Christmas coal,
and I'm
just gonna eat. I was gonna eat it all through this thing. I forgot about it. I was gonna do it starting out with. So this is for Lexis King, because I'm just not into it.
Eating coal, baby.
So,
that's funny. I'm funny.
You are.
Did you miss me so much while I was gone?
No,
you are.
No, because listen, Kate. I just scrolled up and I saw all the things that I'm gonna have to talk about on this particular episode.
No, that was a huge mistake. I was just looking at him and going, "Big L, big L for you."
Tater Paxley she's got some issues. She's talking to a picture of Lyra.
Wait, what is that her? Honest.
No, she's not under that table. She's under my table. She's under my bed. Like
she's hiding under there like the monsters.
Just hiding under the bed. So anyway, she's like, I have to text Lyra again, and then Lyra's just like, no, I got all your messages. What are you doing? Why are you doing this? No, I'm have to protect you so you can stay the champion forever. After I beat up Roxanne, you won't even have a match versus her, and then you will be champion forever. And but you can't fight my battles for you. Yeah, but what if I could, though? Wouldn't that be great? So she's doing a good job playing the crazy thing, but I'm like, again, where did this come from? Why have you fixated on Lyra? They did not do any of the work to show us like if at one point, or like if you say we want to tell this story, you don't get to jump in chapter 5. You gotta start it where the story starts, where Tatum Paxley is getting the crap beaten out of her by Blair Davenport or something leading up to that match. And because Lyra is feuding with Blair Davenport and for no other reason, she intervenes and she's like, Tatum, are you okay? And pulls her up and it's like, are you all right? It's like, yeah, I'm okay now. Okay, good. Just want to make sure. And then she goes back after, like, I gotta get a match with Blair Davenport or whatever. And the way that started, and for Lyra, it was a very innocent little thing. It wasn't even about Tatum. It was about Blair. But Tatum thinks it's all about her. It's the first person that's ever shown her kindness, and she fixates on it. And if you start out from the beginning, we can go back to that and go, now I know. Now I'm sitting there going, like, what ridiculous anonymous NXT anonymous video are you going to plant to make this all make sense? And even if they did that, it would be bad. But it wouldn't be as bad as if we're never even going to bother to explain it. She's just crazy. Accept it. She's just crazy. And I'm sorry, I can't, because it's your show that you write and you can do whatever you want with it. Just do that.
It's just like people also just don't go indiscriminately crazy usually. So that's not good. Also, it feels like you could be crazy. You could find the darkness within you, which makes you hot and wear black lipstick, or you could be good. This would work better too if like it was because Lyra had the title that she was fixated, but it's like very clearly about Lyra and not the title. So I actually think that would be kind of cool if she was like nuts about the title, and when Lyra lost it, she's just obsessed with the next and the next and the next until she gets there, or something that's kind of cool. But that's not what this is. I don't really know what this is, and I understand how stables work, but somebody that fights your battles for you when you're champion is kind of not the purpose of pro wrestling.
True.
Kind of not.
To Lyra's credit, she doesn't want anybody to fight her battles for her. You know what I mean? Like, let's just, so
that's
not,
true.
You know,
it is a point of tension. That's a good point. That's a good point.
So Roxanne has her match versus Tatum Paxley after Tater put her through the table.
They gotta call that like the get the Tater tables. There's something there. We'll find it anyway.
Devon, get the taters. No?
Get the taters.
We want taters.
That would be a justified what chant if people were like, get the taters. What? Because like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. So Roxanne beats her with Lyra on commentary, basically just like, what's going on with Tatum Paxley? I don't know. And that basic exchange happens about 12 times during the match. So I feel like it's not really worth
more comfortable on commentary than she did in her promos. I will say that.
Yeah.
It was a much more natural sound for her, so that made me happy for her.
Yeah.
But you're right that it didn't reveal any information about our dear Potato Paxley.
No. So anyway, Roxanne wins with the Pop Rocks, and then she's like mad dogging Lyra while she's in, like, you know, and then Tatum attacks her, but very ineffectually. So Roxanne immediately fights back, and Lyra stops her from beating up Tatum Paxley, and then they both are doing this. And they decide to both slowly put their fists down so they can look at each other and point and mouth things that may have been actual words, but I'm not really sure. And then Tatum is like, oh my God, she saved me. So maybe they're doing chapter 1, but they're just doing it in the spot of chapter 7. So, yeah.
It's a really poorly sequenced choose your own adventure book.
Yeah. Roxanne is, I don't know. I don't expect her to win. So the match between her and Lyra should be very, very good. But I don't expect her to win. And then after that, what do you do with Roxanne? She was good in the Rumble. I really enjoyed her and Tiffany in the Rumble together. Tiffany eliminating her and just standing there going, Toodles! I did like that.
Tiffany, every now and then I lose a championship match and I change my whole personality. Turn her heel. Thank you.
Turn around, dark eye makeup. Turn around, dark eyes makeup.
Every now and then I fall apart.
Yeah. I hope that Roxanne has a clear storyline coming out of this. If they turn her heel, I think that's a dumb thing to do with as natural a baby face as there is in the world. Yes. But if they do, then I hope she has fun playing the heel part and they give her something other than I have dark eye makeup now. So
you know what's a bummer is they gave her kind of like the prodigy thing, and I feel like that would have been really cool for her, and that's something that you can flip heel or face very easily. Deanna with the Virtuosa, almost a similar thing of, if I'm super cocky, I'm the prodigy that way. If I'm a baby face, I'm just proving that I'm the prodigy by going out there and being a great wrestler. Like, I kind of wish they had just leaned into the direction of it being her ring work, because her ring work's incredible. And I think outpaces her promos a little bit. And I understand the point of developmental is to get you comfortable with those things. But like, it just feels like such a sweet spot. Like, it feels like that feels very becoming of her to be called that. So I would prefer to see that version of her rather than her have to find the evil within or whatever we're gonna do.
Right.
Or just call her up, which is great.
Yeah. Luis says, I think a heel turn booked by these guys would derail Rox to an extreme point. She has to get called up ASAP. Yeah, I don't like the idea of it, but if she's not getting called up, I hope they have real concrete things for her to do, as opposed to I'm just going to be around here and lose most of my matches.
I feel like it's encouraging that Tiffany eliminated her in the Rumble, because that should be one of those moments that in 5 years, when we're talking about how they're the two biggest stars in the women's division, we get to point to. And Tiffany should probably be heel most of Tiffany should probably be heel most of the time, and Roxanne should probably be face most of the time. So I'm glad that they got that moment, because that's a fun one.
Maybe she'll get a black kendo stick, says Austin.
You know what? If Cora Jade gifted it to her, that would be really sweet.
Ariana is trying to...
Did I make up? I didn't make this up. Commander Aziz was her heavy for 1 week on a house show, right?
Cora Jade? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I just thought, I remembered that, and I was like, was that a fever dream? No, that happened. Okay.
So Ariana Venti is standing there making, trying to give Ren Sinclair advice on how to make it NXT, because Ariana Venti's been there for so long, she's definitely knows everything about it. But she starts, like, somebody says, she says, all right, now give me your best greeting, and she closes her eyes, and then we hear Fallon say, hey y'all, or something like that. It's like, oh, that's not good. Don't do that. Don't, whatever you do, don't say it like that. That makes you sound like you come from a ranch, and also you smell like a bar, and oh my God, it's Fallon Henley. It has come down to the point with Ariana Venti that I have no problem with the character work she's doing. It's the sash. If you got rid of the sash, I'd have, because women like this exist.
Yes.
But there was no such thing as Miss NXT. There just isn't. They don't have that. That's not a thing you can be. You can't be that. And so if you are wearing a sash, that means you are a crazy person, and I don't understand why you're here. Because we didn't see her go insane. She showed up insane. Like, Toni Storm slowly went off the rails as a character, so she grandfathered herself into the program.
Am I not enough of a star for you anymore?
I mean,
do I not? Yeah. I mean,
yeah. You know what I mean?
The other thing about her and I think it's actually incredible for how young she is, how good she is at the character side of this. And she's pretty good in the ring as well. But to your point about the creative surrounding it, beauty pageant winners, to my knowledge, I'm not going to be like, listen, if there's anything I know in this world, it's beauty pageants. I used to have sleepovers and watch Miss America sometimes. I know what I'm talking about here. But from what I know, beauty pageant winners wear their sashes when they're at signings and stuff. But sometimes she's in a pageant, and sometimes she's just a pageant queen. So there's like, it's just a weird kind of, sometimes it feels like she's participating in the pageant in front of our eyes, and sometimes we get stuff like we got tonight. But she's very good at the character side of it. My threshold is always, and will always be, it doesn't really translate to the ring. They figured out, they've gotten close a couple times. I want them to get all the way there with her for her sake. But Yeah, and I'm also just kind of Fallon Henley, I feel like, has come a very long way in the ring from what we've seen. And we call her Horse Girl. But they've kind of reduced it to like they present her on screen how Tiffany Stratton viewed her on screen. Of that, like you're a rancher and that is gross to us because you always smell like horses. So whilst we have fun calling her Horse Girl, I would like for them to treat her differently in that regard. But yeah, we'll see where this ends up going.
Well, she's trying to do something where she's like trying to be a big sister to people, to the new girls, which is interesting, and we'll see what is. So
it would be a great way to get into a tag team if they're going to try and have a tag division.
She says to Maddie Sinclairski, she wants her to come and watch the match she's going to have with Ariana Venti later.
I'm so glad you reminded me that that's where the segment started, because she also just decided that she's British, and I just think that's a really nice way to honor the legacy of Timothy Thatcher.
Anyway, Lola Vice defeated Elektra Lopez. We knew that was going to happen. It was a decent little match. Lola Vice hits her with a backspinning heel kick, knocks her the F out, and sends her over to SmackDown, where she will join a bunch of 3 guys and a girl factions. This is what they've done on SmackDown.
They are a pizza place away.
Although every of these things, they need to have the specific kind of restaurant. There's 2 different the Mexican restaurants, or maybe one of the restaurants is Puerto Rican. I'm not really sure, but like it's the different Latin flavors of restaurants there. Maybe a soul food restaurant for Bobby Lashley. Not really sure there, and I have no idea what the hell Karrion Kross eats. Souls,
darkness.
What I don't know what he eats, but anyway.
Can I get the darkness? With
but
a side
can I have the dressing on the side? Dressing on the side.
This is good. I think this should be Elektra Lopez getting called up. I think there's a lot of people that feel that way. I think you're one of those people. She's a very complete part of that picture, and I think that would be great.
Yeah. I like that they've decided on SmackDown we have a whole bunch of these factions, and all of them, for the most part, have 3 guys and a girl, which means there's an infinite number of different combinations we could make for these. The mid card on SmackDown is really interesting to me because of all these different things that they're doing. I'm into seeing what that goes to be, and I think that Elektra Lopez versus Lena Vega can be a lot of fun. Lena's so tiny and Elektra's so statuesque. I think that could be some good stuff there. Eventually,
it's a shame they're both just so hideous.
Yes, it is true. It's true. Shabu again says Shabu again or Shabugan? Shabu again says
is that our philosopher? Our homie?
Says beauty pageant aficionado Kate Elizabeth.
It is true. I had many amateur makeovers to various Miss Universe and Miss America pageants in the context of a slumber party. So I know what I'm talking about. And I have also seen Miss Congeniality several times. Thank you.
Shabu again says Ryan Reynolds pokes his head out of a car while watching SmackDown. It's been done. This joke is from the deep cut. It is from an episode of The Simpsons.
Of course it is. If I'm confused, it's because it's from The Simpsons.
The only faction on SmackDown without a girl is the Bloodline. Tamina, where are you at? Says Luis. Oh, that'll be Naomi when she turns heel. Lola Vice looks really good. I hope she cashes in her at a glance now. She doesn't have a friend to beat up the person some more to help her get, but you got to cash in the at a glance. You got to do it.
It's true. She looked really great. I love her. This is why I'm glad Lyra steered away from the spinning heel kick too, because Lola Vice's is great. I'm very much looking forward to seeing her kind of be in this next crop up of women stars that we're getting in NXT, because I think that top echelon is a little bit filled out and they'll probably move up soon. I think she's one of those ones that they can point to and say we did really great work with. So yeah, it'd be good.
Dijak is sitting in his closet. He's writing some notes, and then Joe Gacy walks in. He's like, "So this is where you. This is like I like the ambiance and everything. Blah blah blah. Get out of here. Blah 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 blah. Like say you should something about like this isn't the last time you're gonna have to deal with me. It wasn't the first time. Blah blah blah." And he like reaches over and he pushes play on his little tape recorder, his cassette tape recorder. And apparently he had been in there before and recorded himself talking, not saying anything threatening, just saying, "I really like your office." And this throws Dijak into a rage. "How dare you like my office?" And then they beat each other up and they keep fighting backstage. And eventually they fight until they go outside and they're on top of a storage container overlooking a dumpster. And they fight. And then Dijak knocks him off the into a dumpster, and then later, minutes and minutes and minutes later, Ava is not Ariana Venti. Ava Venti.
Tall.
Ava's like, "How dare you? How dare you? That's a horrible. I'm you're lucky you're not suspended for this. You knocked a man into some garbage from a height of 4 feet. You get the hell out of my sight. You gotta give me a match against Joe Gacy this Sunday at Vengeance Day. I can't do it. He's obviously in no condition." There are all these people standing around, including people who are obviously dressed like EMTs. And this has been minutes since he fell in there. Like 20 minutes. He then climbs out of the dumpster with like ramen noodles hanging out of his beard, and he spits out a coffee filter. And he says, I really like that idea. No DQ. That sounds good. So no, like how do you know he's in no condition to compete? You didn't sit. None of the EMTs are like, "I can't get in there. It's a dumpster. I can't possibly get in there." They should probably have checked on him beforehand. It was very funny. I liked it a lot.
I loved Dijak being incensed by the non-threatening things that were on the recorder. It was very fun for me. Fans of The Office will remember the parkour episode, Cold Open, where he goes to do a gainer and then just falls into the box. That's what this looked like to me. I was laughing very hard. I will say, whilst I appreciate and can understand your nitpick of the EMTs being like, having not seen him, I think if somebody throws you into a dumpster, it's okay to make the conclusion that they're probably not ready to go. But I understand what you're saying. You have not done your job as an EMT if you have made 0 evaluations or attempts to do it. But I also understand jumping to the conclusion of Dijak threw that man into a dumpster and we haven't seen him.
Just get him out of the dumpster. How about that? Like, if he has an open wound, it's definitely infected. Like,
especially since he's Oscar the Grouch in there, just swimming around, comes out with a coffee filter in his mouth and ramen in his face. The visual of that I actually really liked. There's a lot of things that I don't love about the production of NXT, but this I loved this whole setup. I thought it was very fun, and I thought they were going to go in a serious direction with it. They've gone sillier, but this is a sillier that's working for me so far.
Oscar the Grouchinet is the thing that this has ever come out of this, because I'm usually the one who's Oscar the Grouchinet by saying everything is trash. That's very
called
funny.
A trash can, not a trash can't.
I like that. I'm very excited for this no DQ match between Dijak and Joe Gacy. I think they're going to have a lot of fun coming up with crazy things to do to each other.
I agree. And Alex, to be honest, I think it's going to be one of Joe Gacy's best matches, because I think we're going to be like, this was entertaining, and then be like, oh, remember, he can really go. But if I had to lay odds on what my favorite match was going to be, that would be a weird prop bet, admittedly. It really would be an odd thing to bet on, but should that information need to be publicly available? Do you know where I can find that?
I would say maybe there's some place online where you could bet, maybe some place called Bet.
Oh my God, online. Alex.
Yeah.
You're pretty dead on, but I'm going to let Sean Ross Sapp tell you all about it. He's got this whole thing about it. He's going to tell you all about it.
What's up, you guys? Sean Ross Sapp, Fightful, here to tell you about BetOnline AG. The highest credit card acceptance industry-wide, 25-plus year track record, safe and secure online environments, payouts in minutes, the fastest in the industry. You can bet big with their high limits and rebet functionality, the earliest line, so odds open before the competition, the industry's best bonuses on every qualifying deposit, and we're talking on everything. Wrestling, they got it. MMA, they got it. Boxing, they got it. But hey, you know what? I know we're Fightful. We don't just live for that. Football, basketball, baseball, hockey, racing, esports, anything you can think of. Not only that, this is exclusively where Fightful gets our lines from. If you hear us talking about lines on a prediction show or on our post shows, it is always from BetOnline AG. Please bet responsibly and only bet what you can. BetOnline.ag.
You know, it's kind of, BetOnline AG is wonderful, and so is Sean's read about it. But when we did the Wednesday show, the ad reads that we had for those were cut with stock images. I got to reenact them backstage, but these ones didn't have that.
No, we got to somehow get those imported over here so that
we're gonna have to. I think it's just more reasonable to be like, Sean, we need you to recut every ad read you've done so that I can make funny faces and gestures backstage.
Yeah.
Hey, there's this big football game coming up. It's called the Super Bowl. You're probably gonna want to bet on it with BetOnline AG. I'm just saying.
No, we're definitely getting sued now because the NFL only allows you to say the big game if you don't carry it on your network. So it's the big game.
Oh, well.
Featuring the city of Kansas Native American leaders and the Bay Area prospectors.
It's Taylor Swift versus the world. So let's just call it what it is.
Shabu again says, like a phoenix rises from the ashes, Gacy rises from a dumpster with his first good segment. Also, it's been a while. This was a new segue. Thank you very much.
Appreciate you again and again. Go Ace.
All right. Unless it's King and Ridge Holland in a match.
Oh, wait. Sorry. It's in my contract. I have to do this now.
You do?
I have to slide in. It's almost the Chris Collins where slide in.
Oh, yeah. No, the slide. That's good.
I'm so cool. I'm so cool. I'm Lexus King.
Booker T's infatuation with Lexus King. Where does this come from? Do you think?
The same place that his unjustified hatred from the New Day comes from, and I have no idea. No idea. Like with Roxanne, he clearly has a paternal affection for her because he trained her, and she's been such an impressive young victory for the school that he trained her at. Lexus King, I got nothing. I really don't know.
It's so funny because we need Roxanne to turn heel, if only for the continuity of Booker, because he loves the scumbags so much, but he's just so pro Roxanne. So yeah, it's too much. It's too much. We've had an entire overhaul of all of the commentary. Pat McAfee is back full time on Raw. Your mileage may vary on that one. Corey Graves is apparently going to try being a play-by-play guy on SmackDown. That's a thing. We're going to have to see how that works out. Wade Barrett's back on SmackDown. And
that's great.
And Vic Joseph when he heard
what
they
did
were
he do?
when he heard they were shuffling the commentary desks around, he had to be like, okay, finally, if I'm not moving, at least Booker's out of here, right? Because he is more and more frustrated with Booker T. But his worshiping of Lexis King is really unsettling. So Joe Gacy and the Gallus boys, Gallus boys on top, they run out, and Ridge Holland kicks their asses 1-on-3. But then he's an idiot who just walks into the rope hung version of his weird little the coronation, his little twisting neck thing, his reverse crossroads, and Lexis King wins, and then Booker's like, yeah, bye bye. Like, I don't know. I don't get it. I don't know what this is, but whatever. It's not my thing.
I feel like my problem with this, other than the man crush part, if Ridge Holland wants Gallus, all of Gallus, to fight him, and you are 3 dudes, why is there a single hesitation in taking that fight right away?
I don't know.
Like, you have the advantage. You are 3 dudes against Ridge Holland, who we're gonna talk about how gargantuan Von Wagner is in a minute. An inch shorter than Duke Hudson. But I just feel like they should just have that match. That's not something that needs an extensive setup here. Like, why are you not taking that match for Gallus? Your former tag team champions. You got 3 dudes. 2 of them are real big. And there's one guy on the other side, and he wants to fight all 3 of you at the same time. I'd be like, let's do it. This skin also, this hair is versatile today because it's also Andre Chase, who, as you said, auctioned off his comb collection.
Yeah. Shabu again says his full title is Big Time Get from AEW, Lexis King.
That's being nice to tell him, but yes.
We will see what comes of this.
What's in store?
Ridge Holland, I'm sure, is getting his match versus Joe Gacy and such, but like until then, who knows? Chase U. They were coming out for a funeral. They were all dressed in black. And I was like, this is it. I prayed for this and it happened. That's how I felt. I felt like Drew McIntyre last night, that finally, everything that I wanted was going to come true for me. And instead, they had a really schlocky video package. They were going for a certain thing, but like the people who were like, wow, this just proves what a fun thing Chase U has been. Man, I do not understand. Like, you and I view things so differently as to what is entertaining or good, and also like they did a lot of work keeping Bodie. Remember Bodie, who was like the secondary character, and then he got fired. We never found out why. I don't think we ever found out why, but at least it never became public. But he got fired, but he was the guy with Chase, with like before Thea Hale ever showed up. Actually, he and Thea Hale were like there for like a week or 2.
Yeah, there was a very short crossover with the 2 of them. Yes,
and then he left, but he was like the whole reason we started. I think the whole reason we were supposed to start liking Andre Chase was because he sacrificed himself for his student in a feud with Von Wagner, the evil Von Wagner. So of course they can't show any of that stuff. So it was just like a bunch of like random little clips of him yelling at his students. Oh God, how heartwarming. And then they finally came to the end of it. It's like, wow, that's really it. I can't believe everything we've done. It's all over. Goodbye, Chase U. It's over now. And then JC Jane comes out. And JC Jane says, don't worry. We figured it out. We are not only have I got us out of debt, I'm taking us to the promised land. And I was, what is the promised land? Was there something else that? all she said is, now I've got enough money. We've got enough money based on the projected sales of this thing we're going to talk about in a second to take Chase U out of debt and into the next decade. The thing that she is banking on sales for is a sexy co-eds calendar. And if you don't know what that is, it's because they haven't been a thing, really, since in 20 years. It was a thing that, like, sororities would do in the 80s to raise money. They'd get photos of them, like, wearing bikinis, and then they'd print them up at a Kinko's, and they'd sell them on the quad, and you'd make some money. And what they're saying is that the pre-sales of a far bygone thing that doesn't really happen anymore, all going to be sold in Clarksville, Tennessee at Vengeance Day this Sunday, are going to be enough to fully fund a university from now into the 2030s. And to that, I say no. I say no, it's not. It's not. This is, again, just as an objection to this as an overall all storytelling device, to say nothing of having we are a bunch of sexy young women posing for pictures and selling our bodies in this way right after the Vince McMahon thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
This made me extremely uncomfortable. And I do want to say, like, I get situations of people that can separate what's on TV from what's in real life. I'm not always great at that. And especially when things happen so quickly back to back. And there's a lot of issues with this for me. And there's a lot of things that just make me think that they must have a really bad public relations department based on the press conference that we saw and this still going to air. And it's not just because sexy girls, it's because it's sexy women's talent. There's an exchange of thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars here. And all that money is going to help an authority figure of an institution. And it's being viewed as a saves the day kind of thing. That makes me very uncomfortable as a women's wrestling fan, as a female wrestling fan, not just a fan of women's wrestling. And I think it's a really unfair thing to do to JC Jane and the talent there. Now, I appreciated that they tried to angle it towards, like, JC Jane was taking this on as an empowerment thing. And I fully believe this was always the plan. And in fact, if you go back probably a month ago, you can hear Alex say, this is going to be like a sexy calendar thing, right? Like, this was coming down the pike the whole time. I'm not saying that this was like a punctuation mark on anything. I am saying they should have pivoted away from this. I felt like it was a really, really, really bad call to do this. And let's not pretend this storyline has been super clean and they had to execute it this way. It's been very twisty and turny. And it should have been a debt to Tony D and the family from the beginning, in my opinion. So I just think
hundreds of thousands of dollars he is in debt. Hundreds of thousands of dollars. And
like,
then you're going to fund the university for a minimum of 6 years because into the next decade, they said.
And I gotta be honest, I don't, other than like those giant desk calendars where you can write stuff, I don't know anybody who has a picture calendar anymore because we all have computers and phones. Like, I don't even know who buys a calendar, never mind like a sexy co-ed calendar. But just the sexualizing of talent this week, the exchange of money for something that is portrayed as sexy, and that money going toward an institution and an authority figure is something that made me very, very uncomfortable watching this. And I know we're oftentimes very loud and emphatic, but I sincerely think that was a wildly tone-deaf decision to allow this to continue in that direction and to go to air. Outside of it, if you like the after-school special feel of this, if this felt like that Saved by the Bell episode to you, I get it. But to me, when I was watching this package, and I already saw people saying it in the chat, that they know what I'm going to say, and that's like, I really genuinely thought when we got Cameron Grimes versus Duke Hudson and Duke Hudson was out there having really good matches with him. And you had Cameron Grimes talking about the significance of his hair, and you had him with this poker angle saying, "But luck is for losers." Like all these nuanced callbacks in this very weird era of the beginning of the new NXT 2.0. I looked at that guy and was like, he's got the look. He's a bigger dude. They like those guys who are 6'5" and over. He's an extremely natural talker. I think I compared him to Adam Copeland because he reminded me of Edge in that way. Like it was the ease with which he talks. And they've just mostly had this guy lugging around an MVP trophy. So it just felt like they've really wasted him. And when the only time I was bought into Chase U is when the story was on him, because it felt like he was going to dismantle it from the inside or save it. And they kind of flirted with that line pretty well. And then they didn't do anything with it. And then I was kind of out on it again. But it's just creatively frustrating because this being the ending, not only in light of everything that's happened this week, but is an outdated trope. And then on top of that, you had so many chances to have the gambling debt be paid off too. They kind of implied it without the mud, and they definitely should have done it with the D'Angelo family. It just feels like a creatively poorly executed creative on so many fronts.
If you go back to the beginning of this whole thing, it is heavily implied that they are in debt specifically to Tony D.
Yes. And that was the one time you ever liked them.
It was the one time I thought
you were like, they're going to get me to like them.
Just the idea of, oh my God, we got to get out of Hawk to Tony D. He's going to break my thumbs.
Right.
Like could have been really great. Shabu again says nobody could have called an audible on this. I don't believe they have the capacity to call an audible on something that they've been trying to do this. Yeah. And
you leave it off TV for a week and you revisit it and figure it out for the week then. Like there's just no excuse for this going to air, in my opinion.
Jambeard says Kate and her bangs were the month of smarch on the Chase U calendars.
Boom.
They brought out the women who are apparently a part of this calendar, and they were all just like, at least they didn't have them come out in lingerie or something. Yeah. They had them come out and they were fully clothed. I guess that's nice. But then they cut all these men into the stands, like holding each other back from jumping over the rails to get to these women. And I'm like, this doesn't work anymore. Like, listen, these are all men in their 20s. They know Pornhub's free. I don't know what they're doing looking for a calendar.
No, you're like, gonna summon the bots. You can't say Pornhub on here.
I mean,
but
or other things.
I also think the feeling I got was, do you remember the worst Survivor Series ever when everybody was focused on the fact that like they said they were going to deliver The Rock, and they were like, here's a golden egg for Austin Theory. Do you remember when they got out of the limousine, when Vince got out of the limo and the talent was just lined up clapping? That's what the, like, we trotted out the hot girls thing felt like to me, because I am just operating at a higher level of sensitivity this week. But I'm very thankful that it feels like the men in this angle have always been very respectful to the women in this angle, because it would feel icky.
Later, Chase U are celebrating, having, now that they're funded into 2030s. Then Lexis King walks up and hits on JC Jane and Thea Hale, and then Riley Osborne's like, hey, you can't do that. And then Lexis King says, nobody likes you, and walks away. And then Thea Hale says, everybody likes you. I like you. Well, I like you kind of. So just here's the deal. There was possible. There was a small possibility, I grant you, but it was possible today that this was going to be the end of my hate affair with Chase U. That it would be gone forever and we wouldn't have to see him anymore. And now we're getting this until 2035. So
I like the idea that it's just the same.
Same thing.
It's the same talent too.
It's a same.
Motto's in his late 40s. We're just like, I can't relate to someone who's been nervous on having a crush on a guy at all. So I'll never. Always extremely smooth in the way that I operate, and I'm very cool. So
there was a promo that starts with Tony D driving a car fast in a tunnel, and then they all stand around saying like they're just twisting the knife. Her name is Big Ange. Damn it, her name is Big Ange. Her name is
then
Angela,
they did something really
and then
good.
she is big, and then you shorten Angela. No, they did not. No, I'm sorry. No, you can easily say call Ange. I don't care if you call Rizzo. Call Ange is fine. That's her name is Big Ange.
They got me with this so good though. I love this one. Call Rizzo. She is extremely natural walking into something very weird, man. She's
great.
Really, really good.
She's great, and her name is Big Ange. Like I'm not dropping this ever.
Okay, you got me with the call Ange because call Riz. I was actually in on call Riz. I was in on the whole style of this segment. But you're right. Call Ange would have worked just as well, and then she would have been Big Ange. I love that our chat is lit up.
Rizzo, it would have been fine, but no.
You know what? You're right. They went out of the way. They went out of the way to do that. I love that our chat is like she's Big Ange. lit up the chat with the Big Ange stuff.
That's right.
Oh man. You know what's funny, Alex?
What's funny?
With these guys is it feels like they want a lot of people to sleep with the fishes. But why sleep with the fishes when you can sleep on an extremely comfortable mattress? You're not going to want to have cement shoes. You're going to want to kick your shoes off on your Helix sleep mattress.
When I'm traveling, the thing I miss the most is my bed. That's because I've got a Helix Sleep mattress. I worked with Helix Sleep before it ever became helixsleep.com/Fightful. During the pandemic, I needed a new mattress. My back was hurting. I was sleeping on a slab of memory foam. It was not working for me, but I didn't want to go to a mattress store. I wouldn't have wanted to even if it was the pandemic at the time. But I looked up and found helixsleep.com/Fightful. And I found a ton of 5-star reviews. I found a ton of benefits. There are so many different options. There are options for people who sleep too warm, people that want their spine aligned, people who want just anything. And how do you find what you need from helixsleep.com/Fightful? You take an online questionnaire, and when you fill it out, they will find your preferences and match you up to the mattress that works for you. I got the Dusk Luxe model. And right now, you can get 25% off any purchase for a limited time using the code FIGHTFUL, and you get 2 free dream pillows. I've had a lot of neck issues, and helixsleep.com/Fightful has really helped me out in this regard. It's been put over by Wired, GQ, Good Housekeeping, all kinds of people, most importantly, Fightful. But they have over 30,000 5-star reviews. They have great flexible financing plans, and it comes straight to your door. If you don't like it, after 100 nights, they'll just come get it for you. What do you have to lose? Invest in your sleep. helixsleep.com/Fightful.
Very good. I want to do this one, but I'm going to read some puns.
Oh yeah.
Cup says, "Hi, Kate. I know it's super last minute, but is it still possible to buy an ad read on the Fightful Awards?"
Oh my gosh, it is for the low rates that we have. There are a couple of categories open. Feel free to DM me or email me at kate@fightful.com.
See, there you go.
Perfect. Get yours today.
All right. Okay, here we go. Let's see here. One airplane winged angel. Chris Pereira.
Don't get on that plane. It's not good.
Luis Polito says top flight. And Tom Valley says Dante and Darius Martin, top plane.
I mean, I appreciate that you tried to switch it up. I respect it, but you can just go.
Jambeard says LAX, which is
beautiful.
Perfect. Lieutenant Colonel Photo says Blackpool Mile High Club.
Gross but funny.
Jay Pringle says the Spirit Airlines squad, pay for every cheer. Greg Cherry back again with altitude adjustment. Altitude adjustment.
Also, the second half of that rule.
Yeah, love you both. Got a new job. Love you, Jerry. That's awesome, Jerry. Greg.
Love
Cherry,
you
awesome.
too. Good momentum. We like it. 2024 is going to be better.
Jet Sky Blue from Enormous. Also, Boeing will be the plane ride from hell because your windows will pop off, and that's not good.
If the wing stays on.
Pieces says Blackpool Cockpit Club.
Very good pieces.
That's my favorite so far.
Really
okay. Trinfamous says Sierra Hotel India Echo Lima Delta Airlines Shield.
Shielda. Shielda? Like the Linda in the Shielda?
Yeah, that's right. Matthew Hook says, reach for the Techno Skies 2000. Kate, see Collision?
I have not seen Collision yet. I'm very excited, though. Escape the Cage matches are not for me, but I'm looking forward to it.
Orion Band 666. Oh, wait, we got that one. And then ZSJ pre-check.
You don't have to take your shoes off. You just yell dickhead at everybody. It's great.
True Infamous says Chase U, United Airlines.
Chase U Airlines.
Surely we can't be doing airplane puns, says your dad.
We are doing airplane puns, Dad. Don't call me Shirley.
There you go. Jambeard says, yes, we are, and don't call me Shirley.
Oh, excellent. Oh, I love it so much.
And Ricardo says Mariah Mayday.
That's very good. Name TBD. I don't like being in Ricardo's surname purgatory. It's weird.
Gemini sees, and instead of soul plane, it's solo plane. We already got this one. I love it so much. True
It's great.
Blackpool Cockpit Club is so good.
Excellent.
Lieutenant Colonel Photo sends in one from Louisville. Tour of the aisle seats.
That's so good. I love it so much.
Love Jeff Cobb.
That finishes.
Chris Perez says, the big red flying machine. It's gotta be plane.
You don't want that to happen either. You don't want flames to shoot out the sides.
Pyro. No. Tom the Valley says, Joey Janela, do you like movies about gladiators? Christopher says, top flight attendant.
Very good. Very good.
Lieutenant Colonel Photo says, be sure to secure your own luchador mask before assisting others. Turbulence Archer. Adam Cope landing gear.
Just the niche of the landing gear. Beautifully done.
Lieutenant Colonel Photo says, tray tables, ladders, and chairs.
Very good. Get them in the locked and upright position, man.
Chris Pereira says, Tyler Gate.
Such a zen flight.
The rock and sock connecting flight. Pieces.
We're so fun.
Chris Pereira says, the Hurt Business Class.
Very nice. Very well done.
Ricardo says first class, Lieutenant Photo. I think that's a response to one of his things, which is very good. Okay, hold on. True Infamous says fight pit. No, the cockpit. Got to have this fight in the cockpit. Ian Riccaboni says Ian Riccaboni. Boeing. Ivy
One of them
Nile.
Is very competent.
Ivy Nile seat.
I love that.
Another Turbulence Archer.
Very good.
Ian Riccaboni says Lavatory Wilson.
The legs to get you there, man. Just walking down those aisles.
Meet Norma says TSA Kid. Baggage Claim Club. Bianca Belair plane? Yes, Bianca Belair plane. Yes.
TSA Kid is so good.
That's so good. They start to get dark here. Ian R says, hi, Jack Perry.
That's not the Rick Zone that I know.
says plane crash Holly. And then Ricardo with Kamikaze Nina Ray. Okay, that's a bit much.
Those are dark, but indisputably really good.
Yeah.
They're funnier than they are sad.
Shabu again says, flight puns, LAX is king.
I respect that, because you could have just gone for LAX.
Mm-hmm.
The thing at LAX is when they come onto the cockpit, they're all or onto the tarmac.
Yes.
It's just like,
yes, it's good. True Infamous says Jade cargo plane. Cargo plane.
Very nice.
Shabu again says, where we're going, we don't need Rhodes. Cody Rhodes.
I miss you, Shabu again.
Jim Beard says, Obafemi Airlines will just toss you to the next time zone.
Obafemi Airlines. We'll toss you to the next time zone.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for flying with us. Jesse Ozog says, what could be funnier than just money plane? That's good.
Money plane. Very nice.
And of course, Jim Beard Okada, the plane maker.
Where's the plane gonna go? Is it gonna be in NXT? Is it gonna be in AEW?
Don't know. Shabu again says, to paraphrase Boris from chat, Marvin Gaye once said, when Booker gets that feeling, he needs lectual healing.
Lectual healing.
And Shabu again also says, new Fightful sponsor, Helixus King.
Not the puns, but we'll take it. Just gonna take your money. Wait, there's one more.
There he is. You're right. There is one. Pretty Peter Aileron.
That goes to Ireland, I believe, right?
I
think Andy Brown might be a new super chatter. So thank you for super chatting with us, Andy Brown.
Nice.
I think. I'm sorry if I've missed you before.
The OTM have a thing about they're talking to each other about how good they are. The one thing about this that is very good, because Luis points this out, they refer to Tony and Stacks and Big Ange as albondigas. Albondigas. Do you know what an albondigas is?
No.
Meatballs.
I don't think so,
Call them meatballs.
Okay, that's excellent.
They call them albondigas, which is meatballs in Spanish, which is really great. Poor Beach. He can't even get his former tag partner best friend even look at him while he's talking to, oh, sorry, he's like, oh, anyway, so you got this match and and I haven't even talked to Double Vest in a long time, but you gotta go. Oh, okay. He's so forlorn, the big dumb idiot. Like he's just so.
There's a really funny line in a John Mulaney special where he says he looks like a guy that if you spilled soup in his lap, he'd apologize to you. And that's how he comes across in some of these.
Mm-hmm.
He's just always so okay. A little Eeyore-ish. A little Eeyore-ish.
Oh. But Horse Girl's got to go. She can't sit here and talk to him saying whatever. He's got to go. She's got to go and have a match with Ariana Venti, which she loses because a Metaphor comes out. And
not the Meta 5. I was not there.
No, Jakara Jackson distracts the ref, and Fallon gets kicked by Lash Legend, and then rolled into the ring, and just pinned by Ariana Venti, and that is that. So Ariana Venti gets her, her.
Can't emphasize enough.
Yeah.
Love that we get a lot of screen time for the women. We could do better with what's on the screen for the women. We could also do better with what's on the screen for the men in a lot of situations. So,
True.
But just
True.
saying,
True.
This didn't need a distraction finish to set this up. I don't think,
No.
and they do rely on this a lot of.
Right.
I mean, we saw it earlier with Ridge Holland and Lexis King, right? And Gallus came out and did exactly this. So just gets tiresome to see the same thing over and over again, especially in the same episode.
Yeah. Shabu again asks, is Beej just Eeyore with a southern accent? Kind of. He's at least that depressed. So, you know.
Yeah, it feels that way.
Good morning. If it is a good morning, which I doubt. It's basically the same guy.
Now I feel so bad for our
yeah.
I almost said our little bead, which is not. But anyway.
Breaker and Corbin are officially now the Wolf Dogs because Corbin calls them the Wolf Dogs, and they like the name the Wolf Dogs, and so now they're the Wolf Dogs. Need to remind you, Braun Breaker is having he is involved in a scene on Raw, heavily implying he will be signing with SmackDown. So it feels like if he's going to SmackDown, it's like, hey, Baron, have fun. If you find a new partner, let me know. But I'm going to SmackDown. I'll be there on Friday. I gotta go. I'm out.
I mean, you could just call Baron Corbin up too. Like there's no reason you couldn't.
You could, but they would need a third guy and a girl to be on SmackDown.
It's true. That's a very good point.
Yeah.
What are the funniest third guy and a girl that we could choose? Let's just pick the silliest thing that we can.
I think Braun and I would get along. Baron, I don't know. I'm not really sure. He might end of days me pretty quick. But I like the chemistry between these two guys now. They've found something. Yes. It works, and it is the kind of thing I wouldn't mind seeing them do if it felt like we had 2 months until it was call-up season. You know what I mean? But this feels like we got 2 weeks. So you're just now finding this thing. Like, Braun was a really vicious, like, mean-spirited heel. Yes. Now it feels like he's found this tweener part between, like, hey, I'm fast and I'll spear you out of your boots, but I'm going to do it with honor. And then they're like, okay, now you decided to make fun of a dude's horrible childhood head condition. Like, that's a thing that you did.
Oh my God, that is a thing that they did. And then you got taken out by the air, remember? Oh, devastating.
I remember that. And now he's like this tweener thing, and I wanted to see them like figure out a way to sink into it, but I don't know if they're going to have time. Speaking of sinking, Von Wagner, I don't know what his thing now, Kate, is this.
I lose, but tables.
I have a big match, either the culmination of a very long feud or a title match. I'm going to lose. Just straight up lose. But it was okay because I'm such a sore loser that I'm going to put somebody through a table afterwards and the crowd's going to go crazy for it. And I just don't feel like that's good. He loses to Noam Dar in 2 straight falls. It's a best 2 out of 3. Like, the first guy to get to the second fall wins. And he just won 2 in a row. Just boom, done. We're moving. And Von Wagner he loses the first one because he's more concerned with attacking his friend. He beats on Noam Dar at the end of the first bell, 5 or 6 punches, and they don't disqualify him for it.
No.
So then he's angry and like they're trying to drag him to the corner, and he like picks Noam Dar up by the arms and says, "No, you can't have him. He's mine." This is the break between the rounds. Like they made this match 2 weeks ago. Did nobody explain to him the rules? So then he decides to go after Ora Mensa and then turns around, gets kicked right in the face with the Nova Roller, gets pinned. And then the second fall that he gets is because he's a big dumb idiot who runs into the turnbuckle. And then he gets the jackknife pin from Noam Dar. Noam Dar didn't cheat, didn't grab the tights, didn't put his feet on the ropes, just beat him in 2 straight falls. But that's okay, apparently, because what matters is that he stood tall after the match was already over by powerbombing a non-related guy through a table.
Do you have your monkey's paw handy?
I do.
We have been wanting so badly a Noam Dar clean victory.
True.
I so badly wanted him to have something that was like 2 falls, something that felt establishing, and the fact that he's the champion, not that this group is the champion. Noam Dar looked really good in this. I love the clutch at the end, or the jackknife, whatever that was. Instead of something that could easily have been a roll up, like the extra. Like, I love Noam Dar for that, not just because of his great fashion and his incredible hair and his entertaining promos. Not sucking up because I want it to be the Meta 5, but sincerely, he's just a phenomenal in-ring worker, and they've stunted that so much in this Heritage Cup run that I was so excited that we got to see him do some cool stuff. But I hate to harp on negativity when it comes to talent, because who the am I? But I don't know how to do this job and not point out that, like, we just have not seen any growth from Von Wagner in the ring. Like, it's just shoulder blocks and not like it's just very repetitive and not super well done. Even the table spot, I was a little nervous. He hit the table, but like Oramensa was a little close to the back end of the table, and I was scared that he was going to miss it. He didn't, thankfully. And I hate to be negative on in-ring because I don't know anything about in-ring, but it just feels like, from a somewhat educated eye watching him, like there's just been really not a lot of progress here, and it's frustrating to see. And I Noam Dar could have had a clean win that made him feel established in 2 falls with someone really, really good, a Nathan Fraser or whoever. Axiom we already did, I guess, but like there's plenty of talent that we could have seen in that spot. And had something that felt establishing, like the win that we got tonight. So I'm very glad that we got that piece of it. Very refreshing to see Noam Dar just working and not having tons of interference or shortened rounds or anything like that. But I just the comedy's not for me. The in-ring's definitely not there for me. I hate to constantly cast aspersions, but like it's just not good. And then the cop out of I lost, but I put someone through a table. It's not even like he's putting them through a table to soften them up for a rematch. Like he's just pointlessly putting them through a table, and then they're back on TV the next week. So it's also pointless in addition to that. And I don't find it funny. So it's just very much the least for me thing that we get on a regular basis, I would say.
Yeah, it's not at all what I think we should be doing, especially with the Heritage Cup division. But I just don't understand the prolonged thing of let's cheer for a guy who is bad at doing the wrestling part and is such a sore loser that he then attacks people after he loses.
I'm very glad that you brought that up, though, because I did want to mention too, like the times that we've seen Von Wagner more successful has been not matches like this. Like the Heritage Cup environment, doing something different, like putting you in a different environment, can sometimes pull a different side out of a wrestler. And sometimes that's really, really cool. But when you don't have an established skill set, you can't pull a side out of someone because we don't know what they do and who they are. And this was just very, very ill-suited for the things that Von Wagner can at least do sufficiently.
Right. Main event is the segment anyway is Ilja Dragunov with Trick Williams face to face.
Yes.
And I really wish this wasn't so damn convoluted, because I like the interplay between them, as this is the kind of rivalry that's been going on for a while. It dates back to when Ilja was feuding with Carmelo while Carmelo was champion. Trick had several matches with Ilja just as like I'm the henchman for the champ. I have matches with the challenger. That's just kind of a thing so they've had several matches and they've gotten better every time. And Trick is enormously over, and Dragunov is brilliant, and and I liked all of the parts of it that were like this. But when it was like, but do you know if you can even trust Carmelo Hayes? I believe, this is my opinion, that it is me and our rivalry that has made you into the man you are and not Carmelo Hayes. And I'm like, I don't just have him fight. The whole thing, Carmelo Hayes and everything is just this extra layer. And if I thought this whole Carmelo is definitely getting called to the main roster soon, and I need some continuity there. So if looks like he's being called up to the main roster as a babyface, so that means he's got to leave NXT as a babyface, right? Like, there was nothing more jarring to me at the time than Bobby Roode, the shit heel of all shit heels on NXT, and he shows up on the main roster. And shows him on the main roster, and he's, look at me, I'm so happy to be here. Don't you love me? And I'm like, and everyone's like, yes, we do love you. We think you're great. And I'm like, no, but this guy was bad. He was really bad to people. He was really mean. Yeah. He was really mean to Roderick Strong, and Roderick Strong was a babyface at the time, and he does not deserve to be mean to. So I guess I have to wait and see how all this works out. But the thing is, I should be able to say I'm going to wait and see how they book Vengeance Day and what they do with this storyline angle of who attacked Trick, and then we'll see how he gets called up, and if they deal with that on the way there, all this kind of stuff. I'll wait and see. However,
that's not you. You get preemptively mad. I'm the one that waits.
However, I can't do that because I don't trust any of the people in charge of writing the stories to do it right. So now I am preemptively mad or upset because I don't think that they're going to do any of this right. So, yeah.
That's the Alex I know. But I'm actually with you in that I hate to be like, I'm nervous because I'm not nervous. This does not really affect my life. But the thing with Braun feels like it was dictated by real world circumstances. The thing with Melo feels like it might have been dictated by, yeah, we actually want him on the main roster right now, and it betrays the story that they're telling. Mm-hmm. So the thing that I'm iffy with the creative on is it feels like the only way out of this is that it wasn't Carmelo who did it, and it wasn't any of the other suspects. It has to be somebody that we didn't even think about, which sucks from a story perspective, but is the only way to keep them both face. In this segment, one thing I really liked that Dragunov said was, this shouldn't be about Carmelo. This should be about you. And I've given you your biggest match on the biggest stage. Mm-hmm. Like, why are you mad at me for that? Just really great job of, because this is convoluted, Dragunov cutting through my dramatic champion king, but making a tremendous amount of sense out of the things that he could with this. I really liked him being like, why? What do you say me for? Like, why are you pissed at me? All I've done is give you opportunities, and I've given you important ones, and now I have the title, and I'm going to do it again. Is really, really well done, because it boils it down to the thing that they're actually fighting about, which is the title, right? Dragunov doesn't care about the Dusty. Dragunov doesn't care about the Dusty. You shouldn't even be thinking about that. So I really, really like, I just love Ilja Dragunov, but what he did to do the best that he could with something that has gotten so out of control in a way. Great work from him tonight.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm really looking forward to what the match is. I just know that the problem with this is that the finish has to be terrible. It's the way HBK books his big finishes for his big pay-per-view matches. And B, because of this storyline with Trick and Melo. Like, Trick and Melo winning the Dusty, but then Melo turning on Trick so the winners of the Dusty don't even get their title shot feels like the most logical thing that they would do. But I honestly, I don't know. You might be right. Like, the idea that, it was actually Dijak who attacked Trick all those years ago. And then we get a Trick and Dijak match. That'd be good.
Yes.
I guess. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't know. Somebody's costing Trick this match. The person who attacked him in October. It's probably Melo, but then it could be anybody. You know what I mean? That's what it is. You know, yeah. Anyway.
And it does to me feel a little bit like, there's times where it feels very much like it was bad creative, and then there's time where it feels like maybe there were outside factors that have now derailed things, and this feels a little bit more in that arena. Like, I think they were like, you know what? Actually, we do want to call Carmelo up for this tournament and a title shot, like just out of left field. That felt for the main roster. So I do have a little bit more wiggle room for things like that.
We got Luis saying what the history of the betrayals on Vengeance Day are. In 2021, Cole kills the Undisputed Era. 2022, Indy and Persia Parada, now Steph DeLander, break up, and then go into that weird love triangle with them and Dexter and Duke. 2023, Dabba-Kato returns.
Man, just let two cuts and wrestle, man.
Yeah. Dabba-Kato returns, betrays Apollo, and then gets released a few months later. 2024, probably Mello betraying Trick.
That would make sense. But if it's Dijak that did it all along, like you said, he's gonna want retribution.
Yeah. Frontier 51 also says, "Hi, Kate. Is it still possible to buy an ad read on the Fightful Awards?" So I'm assuming that might be the same guy, but just not as a humper chat, or if it's somebody else. So say again.
There are very, very few instances where we will not take your money. Outside of you being a complete POS. If you're like, I have a podcast and it's called Bigoted Hatred. We don't do that. But outside of that, we'll take your money. And I'll tell you the best way to give us your money. Kate@fightful.com, or you can DM me. We do have a few different rate options available and a couple categories left.
There you go. So here's how we get rid of it. Here's how we help Roxanne and get her out of NXT into the main roster. Bailey is going to need help to fight against Damage Guitar when Damage Guitar jumps out of the gang, and so Roxy is the first.
Bro.
It won't, but it would be. It won't. You won't.
I was being silly.
I know. It just stop because those people think you're serious. So let's do some more puns. But first, we're going to say from K Bills. Thank you, Kate and Alex, for everything you do. I'm done with WWE for the time being outside of the SGS because it just feels dirty to me now because of everything going on. I know it's been talked about to death. Just wanted to show my appreciation to you two. Thank you very much, K Bills. And nobody could blame you from taking some time away from this.
For sure. And I think it's very important that everybody does what makes them feel comfortable, because at the end of the day, it's wrestling. It's not heart surgery. Do what makes you feel comfortable. Do what makes you happy. Watch whatever wrestling makes you happy in the first place. That's the important. Unless you get paid to be frustrated, because that's what Alex and I get to do. That lane is taken, people.
It's true.
With our very real hatred.
Jambeard says Delta 4.
Nice.
Ian Riccaboni says this is one of my new favorites. Double flotation vest in the beach. True Infamous says the runway.
Oh, this is the runway.
Yeah. Chris Pereira says Charlotte Flair Force 1.
Very good.
True Infamous has one that is far too dark even for me to read, so we're going to skip that one and say thank you and no.
You can send in a silly if you want to send it.
If you want to send him a silly one, fine, but no to that one.
And again, True Infamous, knock it off. There's two of them now. Stop.
Don't do that one either. Me Norma says JD McDelta. American Dragon Airlines. Boeing's new CEO, Penta El Cerro Maintenance.
Cerro Maintenance.
And the Beach always flies Virgin Air.
Oh. RIP that storyline and that airline, I believe, right?
All right. Yeah. Okay. Damaged Guitar Mac from Andrew Dekoff.
That's really good.
And Annie Brown says Tatum Laxley. L-A-X-Ley. Tatum Laxley.
Really good. Just one minor thing. I would Tater
Laxley. Okay. All right, so we got. There are no. So in True Infamous, if you would like, you can send in because we didn't read your pun. You can request a song for Ricky Rainbow to sing because there are currently no Ricky Rainbow requests, and I don't want to break the streak. So
honestly, that just hurts my feelings. I leave for what, 4 shows? Come back.
Mm-hmm. Tom LaValle wants Darby Allin to sing Ed Sheeran's "Perfect." I confess to not knowing the song.
So good. Oh, you know it.
I don't.
We were
honestly,
just kids when we fell in. Do you exist in the world? That song was.
I do not listen to the radio on purpose, Kate.
I respect it, but I felt like it's one you couldn't get away from.
No, honestly,
you have not been to a wedding in the past 5 years.
No. Here we go. I found a love for me. Oh, darling, just dive right in and follow my lead. Well, I found a girl, beautiful and sweet. Oh, I never knew you were the someone waiting for me, Malachi Black. Because we were just kids when we fell in love, not knowing what it was. I will not give you up this time. But Brody King, just kiss me slow. Your heart is all I own, and in your eyes, you're holding mine. Buddy, I'm dancing in the dark with you between my arms, barefoot on the grass while listening to our favorite song. When you said you looked a mess, I whispered underneath my breath, but you heard it. Darling, you look perfect tonight. Malachi Black. Thank you. All right. Okay. I don't even know if I can do this. I'm just going to do the bye-byes as Booker, and I will do the rest of the song as Linda because I want to do it that way because I don't have an actual Booker T impression. I just know what he says when he says bye-bye. So hold on. All right, here we go. I'm doing this tonight. You're probably gonna start a fight. I know this can't be right. Hey, baby, come on. I loved you endlessly, and you weren't there for me. So now it's time to leave and make it alone. I know that I can't take no more. It ain't no lie. I want to see you out the door, baby. Bye, bye, bye. Bye, bye. Bye, bye. Bye, bye.
Don't want to be a fool for you. Just another player in this game for two. See, now the Ricky ones are rolling in. We guilted them. We guilted you into giving us your money. Thank you so much. We're great at our jobs.
Very good. It's very, very good.
We got a big. This was a big pun night. Thank you guys for showing out with the aerospace puns.
Lieutenant Colonel Photo says Bam Bam Bigelow Aerospace. It's a real company. Bigelow Aerospace. Bam Bam Bigelow Aerospace. Okay, here we go.
Angel,
Ricardo,
who asked when we start talking about NXT, that was the first hour and a half of the show. The last half hour is extremely silly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you could
and
go
nothing to do with anything at all.
You can go to the beginning of the stream and
if you're one of those people that watches for the wrestling part.
Yeah. It's weird coming into a stream that's an hour and 48 minutes long and going, when are they going to start talking about NXT? Is weird to me. I don't know.
Well, it's more weird that we sing.
That is also weird. Ricardo wants Drew McIntyre to sing "Separate Ways" by Journey.
We need to make an announcement. We need to make an announcement that Drew needs to be worked into rotation. If you want, the Drew McIntyre impression is too good to not be folded into rotation on a regular basis. So I think it's fair to say now accepting.
Yeah, it's difficult because so many damn guys are Scottish in NXT that I don't want you to think that I'm
just
doing
are like haggis is what you say.
I don't want you to think I'm doing a Joe Coffey impression here. It is definitely
I do that.
McIntyre. Yeah, here we go. Here we stand, worlds apart, hearts broken in two. Sleepless nights losing ground, I'm reaching for you. Feeling that it's gone, punk. Can't change your mind if we can't go on to survive the tide. Love divides. I prayed for this and it happened. Someday love will find you, break those chains that bind you. One night will remind you how we touched and went our separate ways. We were the once tag team partners. You remember that? Remember that? We used to be tag team partners. We were called the Dashing Ones. If he ever hurts you, true love won't desert you. You know I still love you. I know we touched and went our separate ways. Jey Uso, I blame you for everything that's ever happened to me. Troubled times caught between confusion and pain. Pain. Distant eyes, promise we made were in vain. How about a pint? That's enough. Okay.
I blame you for everything that's ever happened to me. Not bad.
Mm-hmm. All right, here we go. Jambeard wants Braun Strowman singing the theme to Theodore the Tugboat. Oh, Theodore likes to do the things that friendly tugboats do. Pushing and a pulling in the great big harbor in the great big world is so much fun. So many brand new things to discover. Waking with the sun, gotta get the job done. Oh, Theodore, Emily, Faux Duck, Hank, and George, and the harbor master too. Get these boats. Thank you. Okay. All right. No more of these.
Send
no more. Send no more. No more. I got to get through all these by the end of this.
Cut up.
Hello.
Ricky. How's it going?
I'm okay. Right, here we are. Okay, there's no more. And then was done.
That one's a special one.
Tom LaValle wants Champagne Supernova for Ricky Rainbow because Noam Dar is a mark for Oasis.
As he should be. They're great.
Right.
Your hair looks great.
Thank you. How many special people change? How many lives were living strange? Where were you while we were getting high? Well, I was probably with you if you were getting high. Slowly walking down the hall, faster than a cannonball. Where were you while we were listen, I was right there with you. I didn't have rainbow hair. You probably didn't recognize me. Someday you will find me caught beneath a landslide in a champagne supernova in the sky. Someday you will find me caught beneath a landslide in a champagne supernova. Champagne supernova in the sky. Wake up the dawn and ask her why. A dream of dreams, she never dies. Wipe that tear away now from your eyes. Slowly walking down the hall, faster than a cannonball. Where were you when you were getting high? Someday you will find me caught beneath the landslide in the champagne supernova in the sky. Someday you will find me caught beneath the landslide in the champagne supernova.
You know who else enjoys the Oasis?
Who's that?
Your longtime friend and compadre, Nigel McGuinness. Because he had them for a theme song.
Nigel has good taste.
Who has a magic show on February 9th in Vegas. You should go to it. You should go to it, Ricky.
Jambeard wants to hear Learn to Fly by Foo Fighters.
So do I.
Run and tell all the angels this could take all night. I think I need a devil to help me get things right. Hook me up a new revolution because this one is a lie. We sat around laughing and watched the last one die. Now I'm looking to the sky to save me. Looking for a sign of life. Looking for something to help me burn out bright. I'm looking for a complication. Looking because I'm tired of lying. Make my way back home when I learn to fly. Make my way back home when I learn to. Thank you.
When you learn to?
When I learn to. True Infamous wants Ricky Rainbow singing Broken Dreams by Drew Mac. This is a good one. This is good. Right, here we are. Broken Dreams, the Drew McIntyre theme song. And I dream broken dreams, bad dreams come true. I make them for you. I make dreams come true. Bad dreams come true. I make them for you. I make them for you. What's that metronome I hear? Perhaps the end is drawing near. You never hear the shot that takes you down. Now your dreams or memory seem more true from far away, just like smoke that fades and makes no sound. Out of time, so say goodbye. What is yours now is mine. And I dream broken dreams. I make them come true. I make them for you. I make them for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ricky.
Ian R.
Mhm.
Wants Ricky Rainbow singing American Pie. Not the whole song.
The
'cause it's
abridged
very
version, maybe? Yeah, like a
yeah.
radio edit, kind of.
Yeah. Right. Here we go. A long, long time ago, I can still remember how that music used to make me smile. And I knew if I had my chance that I could make those people dance. And maybe they'd be happy for a while. But February made me shiver with every paper I deliver. Bad news on the doorstep. I couldn't take one more step. I can't remember if I cried when I read about his widowed bride, but something touched me deep inside. The day the music died. So bye bye, Miss American Pie. Drove my Chevy to the levee, but the levee was dry. And good old boys are drinking whiskey and rye, singing, "This'll be the day that I die. This'll be the day that I die." Did you write the book of love, and do you have faith in God above if the Bible tells you so? Now, do you believe in rock and roll? Can music save your mortal soul? And can you teach me how to dance real slow? Well, I know that you're in love with him because I saw you dancing in the gym. You both kicked off your shoes, man. I dig those rhythm and blues. I was a lonely today's bronchi buck with the pick carnation in the pickup truck. But I knew that I was out of luck the day the music died. He was singing, but no, I can't. I'll do the whole song and it'll
You
take
gotta
too long.
save something for Tyson Fury, you know?
Yeah. Boris, no, we'll do it next week. I'm sorry, we're not doing it. I said no more.
I'm gonna have
No
a couple
more. All
It
right,
is
fine.
Boris. It's Boris.
Fine. Fine. I'll do it for Boris.
I have met some issues with him, but like,
Do it
you
for
know.
Boris. All right, that's it. This one and no more. Baby, I'm hot just like an oven. Heal me, my darling. I need some loving. Heal me, my darling. Baby, I can't hold it much longer. It's getting stronger and stronger. When I get that feeling, I want sexual healing. Sexual healing, oh baby, makes me feel so fine. Helps me to relieve my mind. Sexual healing, baby, is good for me. Sexual healing is something that is good for me. Notice how Marvin Gaye never talks about whether or not it is good for his partner because he is a very selfish lover, or he would be if he were not dead. That's too much to talk. I'm not going to say it anymore. Luis wants to manifest the Clam King versus Hechicero for all GV collision. Ricky does final countdown. Also, apparently, Nigel eats clam chowder. He's a hypocrite. That's what Champion says.
I don't believe it's how I see it.
Picks or it didn't
AI.
happen. Picks or it didn't happen.
Never happened.
Final countdown. Do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do. We're leaving together, but still it's farewell, and maybe we'll come back to Earth. Who can tell? I guess there's no one to blame. We're leaving ground. Will things ever be the same again? It's the final countdown. Do-do. Do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do. It's the final countdown. Thank you.
Thank you for being here, Ricky. We appreciate you.
One more to make up the dark ones is El Jet Engineerico. That's good. I like that.
That's very
El Jet
good.
Engineerico. It's very good. Thank you.
Ricky,
all right, that's it.
Can you just leave us with one note of wisdom and then we'll get out of here? Just one
wisdom!
turn of praise.
That was one note of wisdom.
No notes. It's perfect. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you. Keep cool, gabagoos.
Toodles.